My job is to represent the consumer. We survey about 250,000 of them a year on all of these topics. And one of the things we know about the consumer is that it's very hard to motivate them to change. That's what all of your businesses are about, is trying to get them to change, either from one competitor to another, or from one product to another. And getting people to go from DVD to Blu-ray will happen. I agree with that. The challenge is, how do you make them feel the need to do it soon rather than later? And that I would put out there as the challenge, because from their perspective, they're going to see Blu-ray as, oh, it's just DVD plus. And they're probably right, at least for the next little while, until BD Live, the Profile 2.0 version of Blu-ray, becomes a more common standard and more titles are being developed with these advanced features. So it's going to be hard to convince them that it's time to change. To me, the optimism that we all share up here is really only justified if we see the industry coming together to create a channel environment of stores, distributors, retailers, CE makers, who are all creating one voice, Blu-ray. And that will cause people to realize, oh, that's the way of the future, that's what I have to do, and they'll do it sooner rather than later. So.
Right, and that brings me up to my next question. I think we all agree that, Blu-ray is inevitable. We just want it to be, fast and get things going. And one of the big buzzwords of this whole year has been, our big task is managing the transition. Well, managing the transition, I'm picturing, Mike pulling up in a minivan, a bunch of consumers going to a store, here's a Blu-ray. No, not the up converter, get that Blu-ray. But how do we do that? How do we manage the transition? How do we get the consumer to recognize the values of Blu-ray? Mike?
Well, there's a lot of features in Blu-ray, and it's only going to get more exciting. And one of the things we found with the consumer is they're slowly but surely becoming HD snobs. That once they get used to watching their sports and their television programming in HD, it's very difficult for them to go back to a standard def. And they're the first to, change over. The second thing is that you have word of mouth, which is the strongest recommendation you can get, and as the player availability starts to expand. I have another slide here if they can drop that on. You'll see that the word of mouth will take off, and then to Jim's point, where it's one voice, the studios and Panasonic and Sony hardware, and Philips, we've been together and we've tried to speak from one voice with a campaign, like a Got Milk campaign. Last fourth quarter, I think we spent like $25 million against it, promoting Blu-ray. This year we'll spend, another significant campaign that'll launch in September or October, and it'll have that one voice that lays out the message, and the message is pretty simple. It's the best entertainment viewing experience you can have, and it also plays your DVDs. And when you tell the consumer that simple message, they buy in. The purchase intent is off the chart, right? And this chart right here shows hardware on the top and software on the bottom, and it lays it up against DVD. So you can see on top on the hardware 1997, which was the first real year of DVD, and against the BD-CE players and the PS3, which is BD compatible. And one of the interesting things you're seeing right now is almost 80% of the software sold is based on a PlayStation console, and that group is not the heaviest tie rate you're going to find. A BD console probably has a tie rate of 15 discs per year and above, way above for some, and a PS3 has like a half to a 1.5 tie rate. So as the BD consoles start to roll out, you're going to see a huge uptake, I believe, in software. And this is a software down there. And I believe by 2008, we're going to be very close to $1 billion in software sales. And that shows that you have a real market here.
So maybe the term managing the